again in this, probably before Daima overused it. And speaking of which, I do not enjoy Daima Super Saiyan 4 because, again, it has no narrative history. Like,
Super Saiyan 4 didn't have any narrative history. You piggybacked off of Great Ape and tried to play it off as if this was Super Saiyan 4's lore. There isn't a damn mention of Super Saiyan 4 in the Saiyan history, in the Saiyan lore, ever. You've never heard of it before, ever. Great Ape, yeah, that's already an established thing, okay? But that's not Super Saiyan 4. There is no mention of Super Saiyan 4. There is no character in the previous history that ever had Super Saiyan 4. There is no hints at the ability to gain Super Saiyan 4 in the history. It's just, hey, get that Space Lemur's son to transform into a pair of pliers and pull Goku's butt. Goku had a tail nub that was furless, that was just a skin nub. They pulled on it a couple of times. The next thing you know, it had fur. It made absolutely no sense. But here he goes, trying to make it seem like it makes perfect sense, trying to make it seem like it was discussed in the lore. And that's the reason why Super Saiyan 4 is so much better than anything else. Only it wasn't. It wasn't discussed before, okay? At all. He's lying. Super Saiyan God was discussed in the past. Check this out.
You talk about Dragon Ball transformations and we look at the original Super Saiyan. We knew about that Saiyan lore for a while. King Kai was talking about it. Vegeta famously thought he went Super Saiyan several times when he actually...
This absolutely has nothing to do with Super Saiyan 4. Him mentioning Great Ape and mentioning that Vegeta thought he went Super Saiyan has literally nothing to do with Super Saiyan 4. Stop it. You're trying to slot Super Saiyan 4 in as something that is esteemed, as something that is, validated. But it's non-canon, and it was never mentioned in the canon. Check this out.
Didn't. And us as a viewer, we're like, what's a Super Saiyan? What's going on here? What are we training for? What is the emotional stakes? I mean, when Krillin dies, that is the pinpoint culmination of the straw that broke the camel's back to lead to that transformation.
Okay, now this is very important. Now he's trying to focus on the emotional stakes. I think that it's a hindrance to the emotional stakes if we have to have a space lemur get his son to transform into a pair of pliers and pull Goku's butt. If we have to watch Elder Kai get extremely uncomfortably close on Goku's backside and then figure out a way to rip his tail out of his back with a pair of pliers. I think that has very little. I think that actually costs some emotional stake points. Okay? I just absolutely not. But if you look over in Dragon Ball Super, you can see that they were training with a damn angel. So which one sounds more validated? Which one would you be more embarrassed, okay, to go into a world full of fantasy anime warriors and explain yourself? Hey, I trained with an angel. The person who trained Beerus versus this guy over here, this lemur from a different dimension. His son can turn into a pair of pliers, and we just had him rip my tail out. Yeah. Which one sounds better? Hands. Yeah. And had a plier operation. They ripped my tail out. That's garbage. How dare you even use the phrase emotional stakes if you're going to back this up?
When we look at Goku, looking at the Earth as using like the blood waves from that as a version of the full moon. Geez, I could write nearly a thesis on how the fact he's looking back on the Earth that took him in, that he was sent to destroy, and that destroyer quality when Goku within that primal A form to transform into Uzaru, then adding Super Saiyan to the Uzaru, and then culminating that back down into Super Saiyan 4.
That sounds pretty stupid. He has to go Super Saiyan as a great ape, and then Super Saiyan 4 happens. That's stupid. It's not the combination of Super Saiyan and Great Ape because you just did that. But somehow controlling it brings about Super Saiyan 4. None of that was a good idea. I'm sorry. You ruined it the moment you said, hey, have him pull Goku's tail out with some pliers. Now, training with an angel? Now, that's dope. I would choose that. That sounds like it takes itself seriously. But what you're talking about over here, it ruined it already. Just all they needed was Goku's tail ripped out with a pair of pliers. Now, that just don't sound as worthy. To me, that sounds like It sounds like some kind of bootleg remedy. Like, we don't want that. Okay,
thing with Super Saiyan 4. It's all from primal emotions. It's very humanistic, even though it's very primal at the same time.
It comes out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere. Goku gets beat up one day. Next thing you know, Elder Kai is out of nowhere talking about some way to make him stronger by growing his tail back. There was literally no foreshadowing of this. There was literally nothing in the lore about this. And they just popped off out of nowhere with it. And they kind of just threw previous elements at each other to try and create this new concept. They said, yeah, Gray Ape. They said, well, that's been done already before. Well, what about Super Saiyan? Yeah, that's been done already before too. Well, what if we combine them? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do. And then that makes Super Saiyan 4. It was just a really dumb idea, at least over here in Dragon Ball Super. They're training with somebody who is so damn validated that it makes sense that this would be worthy of a transformation. You know, if you were to turn down Whis training to pull Goku's butt with a pair of pliers, I really think you would shortchange yourself. Check this out.
And you know, when you look at its aesthetical design as well, I mean, we have something that is extremely striking and culminates and amalgamates that human and Saiyan energy perfectly together. I also think
it's a damn mullet with piss-stained pants. We really don't want Super Saiyan 4. It really doesn't even look like it fits on Goku. It's so damn bummy. I've made this point in the past, but Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are not getting in the club.
It's important to know that Goku doesn't really use it super casually. I think a big problem I have with Super and Super Saiyan Blue is how essentially they achieved it kind of out of nowhere. And I know people are going to tell me in the comments that, you know, it comes from again.
Hold up, wait a second. They achieved it kind of out of nowhere. Well, the movies actually present a time skip. Okay, but what you find out is that they were training with Whis. It doesn't come out of nowhere. They're putting the work in. And my thing is, if you enjoy the premise of, hey, pull his tail out with these pliers real quick and call it a day, but you hate the idea of putting in the work with an angel, somebody who trains a god of destruction, above the level of throwing a single punch that can destroy the entire universe. I mean, these elements are so damn validated that Super Saiyan Blue, yeah, it has more emotional weight to it than anything that you can say from Super Saiyan 4. You got to remember that really came out of nowhere. Super Saiyan Blue actually was the payoff from a previous arc, right? Super Saiyan Blue didn't come out of nowhere. We had just learned about Super Saiyan God, and then they went in to train with Whis. So really, if it piggybacks off of anything, it piggybacks off of the lore before it, which means that yes, this makes better sense. It makes more sense. It is handled in a much better light than Super Saiyan 4.
And the Divine Key and the anime retroactively put it in. But like, I mean, if we're told after the fact, it's very hard to enjoy as a viewer. I mean, if there's points,
did it stop us with Super Saiyan 3 back in Dragon Ball Z? No, it didn't. It didn't stop us at all, did it? No. Sorry.
Ultra Instinct did have points plotted along the way, and I'll give it that. So I think...
Look, he always tries to downplay immediately after when he knows that he's trying to steal someone else's argument, saying Ultra Instinct had plot points along the way. Well, Ultra Instinct is built up off of everything that was being built in Dragon Ball Super, from Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan Blue to every single thing. We see how they develop them. We see how they move ahead. And even in the time skips, it's explained and showcased that they are working harder than ever. Okay, according to a regimen that is it's quite literally a cheat code. Because we can literally look in your body and literally look and see what type of nutrients you have, how your body's working. You can look into whatever point in time. So yeah, this is just a far greater element to include in, you know, breaking through your limits and achieving a new transcendent transformation than what was shown in Dragon Ball GT.
When you want to make the argument then with Super Saiyan 3, that transformation worked purely on it being a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happened?
No. See, you don't get to say it's okay for this, but not okay for that. What are you talking about? Oh, it played on it being a surprise. No, it was a surprise And that was all that there is to it. You didn't see it happen, but it was still allowed to happen. Okay? You want to know what's crazy? They actually show you the Super Saiyan Blue activation scene. You don't actually see that with Super Saiyan 3, right? But now you're going to try to convince us that no, this is actually when it's a bad thing. Yeah, it's a good thing in all other areas of life, except when you get on this form that I can't stand being stronger than Super Saiyan 4. Suddenly, the thing that was good becomes bad only over here for Dragon Ball Super. And it's like, why don't you just admit that your legs are behind your head? You know, I'm sorry. You guys are pretzeled. You guys are wheelbarrowed into a face full of francs. And, you know, you guys don't have a hand to spare at the moment. You're going to be bobbing for Apple. You're going to be bobbing for francs. You're going to be bobbing for ballparks.
As the viewer didn't know what happened in that time skip where Goku was in the other worlds. And also it has a drawback, that energy drain. I'm a big fan. I know
a drawback literally does not deter away from what we were talking about. Okay? It being showcased, it being seen and not coming from nowhere has literally nothing to do with whether or not it has a major drawback. It doesn't matter. Like I've said, you've been trying to make it seem as if Super Saiyan 4 was foreshadowed. It wasn't. Great Ape existing back in Z was not foreshadowing Super Saiyan 4. They weren't mentioning it. Super Saiyan wasn't foreshadowing Super Saiyan 4. There were no scenes ever of them talking about this or them leading up to this, aside from where Elder Kai was like, shoot, you ain't strong enough. I'm just going to have to rip your tail out. And we were like, what is he talking about? And to be honest, narratively speaking, for us watching the show, nobody believed that that worked. We literally were thinking, Elder Kai really doesn't understand how Saiyans work. This is stupid. And to be honest, we were actually upset with Goku for believing that it had worked. Now, Goku having better stamina with his tail grown out, it didn't seem like his power was affected at all. And it was pretty stupid to suggest it, in my personal opinion. But this is what I'm saying. Over in Dragon Ball Super, you see them putting in the work, learning what they've been doing wrong, trying to correct old habits. Over in Dragon Ball Super, just pull his tail out. You see what I'm saying?